Hi, and welcome, I hope, welcome back to Play It Loud. I want to discuss an issue that came to light yesterday when I was listening to The Doors. I'm fortunate to have a few copies, different copies of different Doors albums, and I'd recently noted that I think it might be an American only release. They're advertising the Doors greatest hits or a best of compilation on vinyl from original analog tapes. And there's been a few boxes and or individual albums from the Doors that have claimed to come from original analog tapes, which is fair enough. But as I've noted before, every time you play a tape, it's going to degrade. Maybe not a lot, but over time, and these tapes are well over 50 years old, over time they are bound to deteriorate. And I ask myself, how many times can you get a decent master from an original tape that's 50 years old and has been used before? And on the back of that, you'll see behind me a Doors boxed set. It's a box set that was put together by Bruce Botnick, who was the original Doors producer, and mastered by Bernie Grandman, famous then, famous now. And I was playing it. There's a booklet, I don't know what you'd call it, inside this box, and it's got a fair amount of writing on it. On the one side, you've got a commentary by Jack Holtzman, famous Elektra man, producer, and on the other side, Bruce Botnick. And I want to read just a couple of paragraphs. Bear with me because I think they're important. Okay, Jack Holtzman. Ironically, just as CDs were introduced, the LP had finally evolved into an excellent sound medium. Advanced cutter heads and cutting styli, much more powerful and precise cutting amplifiers, quieter vinyl formations, and improved metal plating procedures had brought the mastering and manufacturing of analog LPs to a quality apogee. What we couldn't know in the 50s and 60s and 70s was how much audio data had been captured on the original master tapes that would lie unheard for decades until the invention of narrow gauge ceramic tape playback heads in the mid-80s. So he's saying, I think, if you're pressing albums after the 80s from original analog tapes, you're likely to be hearing more than if you had the original albums where they didn't have the technology then to get everything off of those albums. Now, I'm not going to comment on that. I've got some great original albums, and I would maintain that they sound better than some of the remasters. That's an argument for a different day. Let's just carry on a moment, because there's something here that Bruce Botnick says. The original concept, that's this Doors box album, the original concept was to go pure analog straight through to the lacquer masters. That is, until we discovered the true physical condition of the master tapes, which varied from almost unplayable to excellent. In the interest of keeping the quality at the highest level, we made blind listening tests with the original analog source, and we compared it to the output from the Pacific Microsonics. This is the DAC. They put it through an analog DAC converter. We couldn't tell the difference sonically, and that further convinced us to do the restoration in the digital domain. So the albums in this box set were mastered by these people, famous people, in the digital domain, and I think they've just explained why. Now, that I've just read out is dated 2007. 27, nearly 20 years ago, 18 years ago. And in those 18 years, I haven't checked, but I am fairly confident that there's been at least a dozen Doors albums from the original master tapes, allegedly. And one of them can't be right. Either Bruce Botnick, Bernie Grundman originally were wrong, or the people who have put them out since are stretching the truth. So, on the basis of that, as I said, I've got a few more copies. I used this from the box set, Doors Soft Parade. Only showing it because it's my favourite Doors album, and yet it doesn't get a lot of love. It never figures in their top 3 albums, but I was playing this at the time, and that's why I read the inner cover, and I was really enjoying it. It sounded very good, but I stopped. I played one side, and I thought, no. If this is true, then we need to try another couple. I brought this when it came out. This is the, I think, 50th anniversary of the Soft Parade. And I brought it because, as you can see, it's got 3 CDs in there as well as the vinyl. And the CDs give a lot of different mixes and demos and extra stuff. Numbered copy. It's a nice little package. A bit of a nice little package. It's very, very pleasant. But I got the album out and did a quick A-B comparison, and I wanted to know which one was best. Now, in truth, there wasn't a great deal in it, but the Doors box set behind me did sound better than the 50th anniversary. You'd have to be playing them side by side to hear that. I don't think you would if you were hearing it day 1 Tuesday, day 2 Wednesday, different copies. But there was a difference. Finally, I brought this out. This is the Analogue Productions Doors Soft Parade 45 revs per minute. Chas Chasm is very, very careful to say what the sources are for all of his albums, because he is particularly keen on all analog masters. And I've got a few of his albums, and I have to say, without exception, they sound fabulous. I'm not suggesting for a moment that Analogue Productions have in any way attempted to be a little bit obstruse, what's the word I'm looking for, that they haven't always been honest. I'm looking at this and I'm trying to see where it says what it comes from, and maybe it's inside, I don't know, doesn't matter. Come up again. Okay, so then I put this on. This sounds fabulous, and yeah, it sounds significantly better than the other 2 that I've shown you. I assume it's come from the original Analogue master, and it's a later master. There's some particular criticism of the first 3 Doors albums on the original sheet that I was quoting from, and that Soft Parade isn't one of them. But I'm going to come back to the beginning of this conversation. There is a new greatest hits mastered from the original Analogue tapes. It's only gossip borne out by what I've just read, but my understanding is that the tapes, certainly for the first Doors album, it's got Light My Fire on it, it always comes up, and the second album, People Are Strange, they are not in good condition and haven't been, certainly from 2007 and possibly before that. So where are they getting the masters for those tracks on those albums? Because we're being asked to pay a premium for them, and that's fair enough. I'll come back to Acoustic Productions, to Chas Chasm. I don't mind paying extra for his because they are superb, but I would mind paying for an album from perhaps a different company that claims to be all analog mastered from the original half-inch tape, when there appears to be a history that that half-inch mastered tape has a few problems. I'd be interested in your comments. Maybe you've got a few, maybe you've done a bit of A/B comparison. Please let me know. I could be completely wrong on this, but it's raised a question. If you're going to put the doors on, play them loud. Cheers.